Ethan Wolfe's life was never his own. He was born into the Wolfe family, one of the world's wealthiest corporate dynasties. From the outside, everything about his life gleamed. A sprawling mansion, global recognition, elite education, and a guaranteed future as the next CEO of Wolfe International. But beneath the surface was a maze of manipulation, silent power plays, and a father who valued obedience over blood. Ethan's mother had vanished from his life when he was 7, never mentioned again in the Wolfe household. His father, Victor Wolfe, never remarried officially but had always kept Ethan under the influence of other relatives, especially his cousin Adrian, who was groomed as a quiet backup, a shadow to Ethan's spotlight. Over the years, Ethan worked harder than anyone, mastering finance, coding, global strategy, and public relations. His goal wasn't just to take over the company. It was to make it something better than the cutthroat machine his father ran. But within Wolfe International, there was no room for empathy, innovation, or integrity. Chapter 1. The Knife in the Back, 7 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Ethan stood before the mirror, adjusting his cufflinks. Today was the day. The long-awaited announcement. Victor Wolfe was stepping down as CEO and the board would declare Ethan the official successor. The media would be watching, the boardroom would be full, and he was ready. As he entered Wolfe Tower, employees nodded with reverence. Everyone knew Ethan. He wasn't just the next in line, he was the face of the new Wolfe International. He had spearheaded the company's AI division, saved a crumbling tech acquisition, and led a philanthropic project in Africa that had won global awards. But something felt off the moment he entered the boardroom. His father avoided eye contact. The board members whispered nervously. Then Adrian walked in, smiling. Victor stood. "Before we begin, there's a matter we must address." Adrian stepped forward, holding a thick file. "With regret," he said, "I must share these documents. We've discovered unauthorized transfers, potential leaks, and unethical contracts signed by Ethan." Ethan froze. The documents were fake. Every signature, every number, every timestamp, fabricated. But it was detailed, painstakingly crafted. Adrian had forged the perfect trap. "Victor," Ethan said, trying to remain calm. "You know me. You know I would never." Victor cut him off. "Until this is investigated, Ethan Wolfe is suspended from all company roles and removed from Wolfe Estate Affairs." Security entered. In front of cameras, Ethan's badge was taken, phone disabled, and he was escorted out, no questions allowed. By 10:30 a.m., Ethan Wolfe ceased to exist. Chapter 2, Exile, 10:45 a.m. to 1 p.m. The moment Ethan stepped out into the street, reality crashed in. Reporters swarmed. Cameras flashed. The story had already spread. Wolfe heir accused of fraud. He tried to call his assistant, number blocked. His lawyer, unavailable. His cards, declined. He took a cab, promising to pay later. The driver dropped him off at his penthouse. Security was already there. "Apologies, Mr. Wolfe," the guard said. "Your access has been revoked. We have orders not to let you in." By noon, Ethan was sitting on a bench near the industrial district. Everything had been taken. His empire, his reputation, his name. He scrolled through his phone. Social media was filled with hate. Friends were silent. Even distant relatives had begun posting about how disappointed they were. He had nothing, except an old contact saved in his notes. Marcus Kane, his grandfather's old business partner. He hadn't spoken to Marcus in years. He called. "Come to the old warehouse," Marcus said. "Your grandfather's first office. The one everyone forgot." Chapter 3. The Warehouse, 1:15 p.m. to 4 p.m. The warehouse was at the edge of the city, surrounded by silence and rust. Ethan stepped inside. Dust and cobwebs ruled the space. But on the far wall, a faded plaque read, "If they lock every door, build your own. Henry Wolfe." Marcus emerged from the shadows, older, slower, but sharp-eyed. "I knew they'd do this," he said. "Victor was never like your grandfather. And Adrian, that snake would kill his own brother for power." They sat down. Ethan vented. Marcus listened. Then, they made a plan. You have your skills, Marcus said. You're a better strategist than any of them. What do you want to build? Ethan thought for a moment. Something decentralized. Something they can't touch. A platform to fund creators, freelancers, underdogs. No middlemen. No corporate chains. He opened an old laptop Marcus had salvaged. It was slow, but usable. And Ethan began to code. He called it Phoenix. Chapter 4. Spark, 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Ethan barely looked up as the sun set. The warehouse filled with quiet hums of code, clicking keys, and his determined breath. By 6:30 p.m., he had a beta version. With Marcus's help, he uploaded the app to an underground developer community. It was raw, rough, but functional. At 6:47 p.m., the first user signed up. At 7:15 p.m., a crypto influencer tweeted about it. At 7:42 p.m., Phoenix hit #1 on Product Hunt. By 8 p.m., investors were trying to contact the anonymous creator. One email stood out. A $5 million offer from a venture firm based in Berlin. No name needed. Chapter 5. Collapse of the Wolves, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. While Phoenix was rising, Wolfe International was burning. Anonymous leaks began hitting the media. Whistleblowers released files showing that Adrian had bribed auditors, manipulated accounts, and planted fake evidence. The same documents used to frame Ethan were traced back to Adrian's assistant. Victor panicked. Stocks dropped 12%. Board members began resigning. By 9:30 p.m., major partners had frozen deals with Wolfe International. And the media had turned. Was Ethan Wolfe set up? The true heir betrayed. Phoenix, the app that could replace Wolfe Tech. Chapter 6. Return of the Sun, 10:15 p.m. to 11:45 p.m. At 10:15 p.m., Victor called Ethan. For the first time in years, his voice trembled. We need you. The company needs you. Come back. Take what's yours. Ethan said nothing. By 11 p.m., Victor arrived at the warehouse himself. He looked tired. Smaller. Hollow. You've proven your point, he said. I was wrong. I let others influence me. You're the real heir. Come home. Ethan stared at the plaque again. If they lock every door, build your own. He looked back at his father. I don't want your throne, he said. I'm building my own. Victor stepped forward. Please. Ethan shook his head. You taught me that legacy was everything. But it's not. Identity is. Epilogue. The New Empire, midnight. Exactly 24 hours after he was betrayed, Ethan Wolfe launched Phoenix globally. Over 1 million users in 10 countries, $50 million in seed funding, and a personal message to every user. You don't need permission to rise. You only need fire. Reporters flooded the warehouse. Cameras rolled. Mr. Wolfe, will you return to Wolfe International? Ethan smiled. I'm not a wolf anymore. I'm the flame that burns down their lies. He turned and walked away. And behind him, the logo of Phoenix rose, wings spread, unshakable. A new era had begun.